Hello. You know, I see myself now talking to a camera, and it's weird. It's basically I think I'm more camera shy than people shy. Let's put it that way, because I work with the police department for the mounted police and help with the advisory of the K9 department for almost 22 years, and I I was people shy basically to talk in this aspect. You know that Spanish is my first language, so I try to master my English so everybody can understand me. And I remember the first time they told me that I had to talk in an auditorium about the project of the new mounted police that we were developing with the special forces that we were under them, working with them. And they needed from me to explain the whole program, how it was going to work. And there were big time officials there, officers. And I looked at them and I said, oh my God, I'm scared. I'm really scared. I knew what to say because I know my matters. I know everything of what I was going to say, but was I going to be able to transmit all of that? And in the way that I was feeling, I came up with a little joke. I told them the first thing I said, good morning, this is Cecilia Martinez. I am the trainer and advisor for the mounted police. I will direct myself to you, but I want to make something clear. I am not the best speaker. I am great if I have a horse or maybe a dog next to me. And everybody started laughing. And it did broke the ice. And from then on, I just kept on. And it was 22 years that sometimes I had to stand in front of everybody and talk about how everything was working and how were the horses doing and about the sensory work and the special tactic work and everything. And I was fine because I knew my matters. Well, anyway, this is another situation. I'm just letting know that I am not like my son, Bebo, master in the camera. He knows his stuff. Great Malanois, breather, trainer, and incredible. And so I take my hat off for him because he really knows how to handle this. But anyway, what I want to talk today, and I needed to do this, it's something that's really worrying me with the situation of the abandonment, the dog abandonment. It's daily I receive calls from people that they say they cannot have their dogs. That if I was a shelter, that if I could take them. And I explained to them, months ago, I had over 40 dogs here. And when the county came to check my kennel, they looked at me and says, what's happening with all this amount of dogs that you have here? You didn't have this. And I said, well, people have been calling, and he didn't even let me finish talking. Don't tell me you've been picking up dogs from people that cannot have them. And I said, yes, I have. No. You don't do that. This is not acceptable. They need to find where and what to do with them. And I told him, I feel bad. I'm not in the economic position to maintain all of this, nor my employees barely can handle this, but I am not going to let them go to shelters where they're going to kill them. I'll find homes. And he said, Ceci, I know your big heart. You have something very special that not a lot of people have, and it's like your compassion. And we don't recommend. You are bringing disease inside. You don't know how many problems you can bring. And I said, I'll find homes. And I did. It took me like 6 months. And I found homes like for 20 of them. And I'm happy for that, that they found homes. But what I want to talk to you about, it's something that goes beyond this. It's like if you're buying a dog, please, before you decide this, just before even getting your house fixed for it, let's put it that way, you need to have alternatives. That who will take your dog if you have an illness, if you have an accident, any emergency situation arises, who's gonna take that dog? This is very, very important. I talk that with the interviews of my puppy buyers all the time. We sit down and we are over an hour or 2 hours talking about every single detail that has to do with the dogs, their environment, where they're keeping them, how to do it. We offer a lot of guidance, advices. And one of the things that I always ask is, do you have a plan A? Do you have a plan B if something happens to you? If you have to move? If you lose your job? What's going to happen with the dog if you have an emergency? And yes, I've always made clear that you have to have those alternatives. In my contract, I do establish that the dogs come back to me at any time. But truly, I prefer that if the dogs can go to homes where they already know, like their kids, their family, their neighbor, someone that knows the dog, and the dog doesn't go through that stress, because it's a big stress. I prefer that. I just ask them, then contact me, let me know where he is, who has him. I need the address, the name, and everything so I can keep in contact. The last resource, yes, he comes back to me if there's nothing suitable. But imagine the dogs or the owners that live way up in New York, California, Texas, and they're even over the states. It's very difficult in an emergency for me to take in charge of that. So it is very important. And let me tell you, you don't know how difficult it is for me, for people that come in here to give a dog in adoption because this lame situations, I'm not going to mention them, but there's many what I call lame and irresponsible situations, and I am not going to talk about them. I don't want to. But I have seen these dogs, me holding the leash, and those dogs just going crazy and completely, they lose it because they say, why are they abandoning me? Where are you going? Why are you leaving me? Please, we need to be more aware of this, okay? We need to be more compassion. It's the dog that has lived with you since he's 8 weeks. He feels he's part of a family. They do have big feelings. They get bonded. They get engaged. And you're breaking that cold blood. Just like nothing. And yeah, maybe you may cry when you leave, but the dog doesn't understand. You do understand what you're doing. They don't. They have no sense of why of this abandonment. And I am the one that takes that in when they bring a dog in here and they say, oh, I can't have him because of such and such, which I won't mention. And I can feel through the leash his energy, his sense of, my God, they're leaving me. It's awful. It's awful. Please, this is a request I'm making. Think about everything before you purchase a dog. I have helped a lot of people to find homes. I have found homes, but it's not easy. I explain to people to go how to do the things in social media, how to post, put a nice picture, do the disclosure of why you're getting rid of the dog, but explain the good aspect and also the bad aspects on the dog. I mean, you need to be realistic and tell the real story of the dog so you can give him a better alternative to find the proper family to adopt him. There are people out there that want your dog. There are. But you know you have to do your work and just try to find the perfect family. If you don't have it at the end, I can help sometimes, but not all the time. Sometimes, as I said, months ago I had over 30 dogs here. Usually my number here is between 15 and 18. And it wasn't fair for them. They were in kennels. These were dogs that were accustomed to live inside the houses, to have a bed, to live with kids, to go and travel with families. And then you turn your back on them? I can't understand this. This is a plea. Please, look for alternatives before you turn your dog in. Think about him as a child who feels completely lost when you're gone. I needed to do this video because I needed to let people know what I see and how it feels. And really, it's heartbreaking. I hope this helps in some sense into people that are planning on getting rid of their dogs, and think it twice. Look for alternatives. I will say it again. If they don't accept it in your new home, then find a place where they will accept him. Okay? You lost your job? Well, I've always recommended to everybody, I do it myself, to get a credit card only for the dogs. And that's something I do, and I recommend that to everybody, just in a case of emergency. It can happen. So, thank you for everybody that stayed up to the end of the video. I know sometimes people just don't see the full video. And this is just a plea from a breeder, an owner, a trainer, a person who's lived with dogs since she was born. And what I do here for me is dogs first, basically. So I hope this helps in any way. Thank you for listening. Have a good afternoon.